All right, today we are going to nail down one of the most critical numbers for any freelancer, your floor rate. Now, I want you to forget guessing what the market will bear. This is all about finding the mathematical minimum you need to charge just to run a sustainable business, and it's all based on your own financial reality. So let's get into it.
So, let me just ask you this, straight up. When a new project lands in your inbox, are you kind of just guessing what to charge? You look around at what other people are charging and just pick a number that feels right? It's an incredibly common problem. But that uncertainty, that can be the difference between thriving and just barely scraping by.
Okay, and this is where we really have to draw a line in the sand. On one side, you've got this idea of a market rate. Honestly, it's often just a collective guess. It's based on what everyone else seems to be doing. But on the other side, you have your floor rate. And this is not a guess at all. This is your number, the mathematical minimum you need to cover your life, your business, your taxes, and, this is key, still make a profit. It's your foundation. Here's the game plan for how we're going to get you to your number. First, we'll talk about why those market rates can lead you astray. Then, we'll gather our 3 key financial inputs and walk right through the formula itself. We're going to tackle the biggest mistake I see freelancers make with billable hours, and then use our final number to build a really smart pricing range. And of course, we'll finish with your clear next step.
First things first, we need our data. Let's gather the 3 essential financial inputs that are going to form the entire foundation of our calculation. And remember, this is all about your numbers, not what the market thinks.
So what do we need? It's actually just 3 things. First, your monthly personal income target. That's what you actually want to pay yourself every month. Second, your monthly business overhead. Think software, your internet bill, insurance, all that stuff. And third, a tax reserve percentage, which is just a conservative guess of what you need to put aside for the tax man. All right, now that we have our data points in mind, we can get to the fun part, the calculation itself. We're going to build your floor rate formula together, one simple step at a time. This is where your personal numbers get turned into a seriously powerful business tool.
The process is wonderfully straightforward. First, we'll just combine your personal and business needs to get a pre-tax total. Then, and this is a step so many people forget, we'll adjust that number to account for taxes. And finally, we'll divide the whole thing by a realistic number of billable hours to find your hourly floor rate. Okay, let's start with step 1. We're simply adding your personal target and your business overhead. And for this explainer, let's just use some easy round numbers, okay? Let's say your personal income target is $5,000 a month, and your business overhead is another $1,000. You add them together, and boom, you get $6,000. This number is your monthly pre-tax need. It's the absolute baseline amount your business has to generate just to cover its own costs and pay you your salary. But that's before a single dollar has been set aside for taxes.
Now for the really critical second step, adjusting for taxes. I'm telling you, if you base your rate on that $6,000 number, you are going to get a very nasty surprise at tax time. The formula is simple. You take that pre-tax need and you divide it by 1 minus your tax reserve percentage. Let me show you what that looks like. See, this simplifies the math a whole lot. Instead of getting bogged down in complex tax stuff, you just pick a conservative percentage to set aside. So if you pick a 25% reserve, you just divide by 0.75. If it's 30%, you divide by 0.70. This little trick builds your tax buffer right into your rate from the very beginning. Okay, so let's get back to our example. We take our $6,000 pre-tax need, and let's use a 25% tax reserve. So we divide it by 0.75. That gives us a brand new total monthly need of $8,000. This is the amount your business needs to actually bring in the door to cover all the expenses, pay you, and have enough set aside for taxes. So, we have our total monthly number. Now we have to figure out how many hours we actually have to earn that money. And this, my friends, brings us to the most important reality check in this entire process, calculating your realistic billable hours. I want to pause here for a second, because this next number is everything. The single biggest mistake freelancers make when they're pricing their services is assuming they can bill for 40 hours a week. That's, 160 hours a month. It almost never happens. You've got to account for sales, marketing, admin, meetings, and just, being a human. So what's a more realistic number? Well, based on a lot of real-world data, most full-time freelancers are actually billing somewhere between 60 and 110 hours per month. The exact number depends on your business, of course, but it's nowhere near 160. So for our example, let's just pick a nice round number right in the middle, 100 billable hours per month.
And now we can put it all together in our final step. We take our total monthly need, that was $8,000, and we divide it by our realistic billable hours, which we just decided is 100.
And there it is. $8,000 divided by 100 hours gives us a floor rate of $80 per hour. Now, the really crucial thing here is that you didn't guess this number. You didn't pull it out of thin air. It's the mathematical result of your life and your business needs. Any rate below this means you are, on some level, losing money. Period.
So now that you have this really powerful number, what do you do with it? Well, you don't just go out and charge $80 an hour for everything. That number is your safety net. The real strategy here is using it as the foundation to build a flexible and, frankly, much more resilient pricing range.
Think of your pricing range in 3 tiers. At the very bottom, you have your floor rate. That's the number we just calculated. Its only job is to protect your profitability. Above that is your target rate. This is your standard price for most of your work. And then at the top, you have a premium rate. You pull this one out for rush jobs, super complex projects, or work that's just a really high value. This structure gives you options.
Okay, so we've walked through the logic, the inputs, the formula. We've even seen how to build a smart pricing strategy from this one single defendable number. Now, the only thing left to do is for you to take action and calculate your own number.
If you take one thing away from this, let it be this. Your floor rate is not just some hourly number. It is the fundamental piece of math that protects the profitability of every single quote you send out, whether you're charging hourly, daily, or by the project.
So here is your next step. Grab a piece of paper or a spreadsheet and walk through these same steps with your own numbers. And hey, if you want a helpful tool to guide you, a free calculator like the Rate Architect is designed to do exactly this, helping you lock in your floor, your target, and your premium rates. So go on, find out, what does the math say your business really needs?